All rise. Honourable Ian McAllister will be presiding.
You may be seated. Mr. Chantler, we're here today to discuss your heinous treatment of Netrunner cards as viewed on YouTube in the last couple of days. You personally put up a video of you treating cards in ways, well, I'm not sure I can describe it for the jury, quite frankly. They have seen the video. I can see some of them are, well, sick to their very core with what they have seen. And I'd like you at first to give you some opportunity to explain your actions.
I was just trying to help. I heard a lot of people struggled with storing Netrunner, and I thought if I just showed them you can dump all of your cards into one box, completely loose, and then just shake it about, then that's a necessary part of the process.
Your Honour, I am representing Mr. Chantler as his defence attorney, lawyer, man thing. And I say that Mr. Chantler is simply exercising his free speech, and I will be citing as precedent versus in the case several years ago of satire laws.
I see an interesting precedent. But in this case, did Mr. Chantler not then go on to say that he would stir the cards with a greasy spoon? I have evidence here from Twitter that this was indeed said.
That was said, Your Honour, but again, I cite versus in satire laws. I will happily pass it over to my colleague in prosecution if he would like to make any claims. Thank you very much, Jamie. Yes, I am representing the prosecution as well. I will be fair and unbiased, and this is a heinous crime, as all good CCG and LCG collecting individuals saw that video, and many of them feel personally attacked. I cannot give any of their names because they wish to be anonymous and are entirely fictitious, but they are hurt.
I feel personally attacked. And I'm the judge. I feel personally attacked.
Well,
I brought you onto the show, Mr. Chantler, to be an advocate for board gaming, to bring news to the masses, and here you are, tossing cards around in a box like they're, I don't know.
I'll do it again.
Leaves on the floor.
You can't
do it
stop
again.
me.
Your Honour, as defence, I think Mr. Chantler is well entitled to be doing this.
I'll shake the box once an hour unless my demands are met.
I'd listen to him, Your Honour. I can't hold him back.
Well, I am shocked and appalled, and my judgment is...
More on that story later. But this is Brainwaves, episode 47, bringing you the best in board game and tabletop gaming news. These are the headlines for the week of the 27th of April, 2020. Cool Mini or Not in denial. Kickstarter feels the pinch. And a game store owner locked up for breaking lockdown. All this and more on this episode of Brainwaves.
So last time on Brainwaves, we reported on Cool Mini or Not's financial woes or potential financial woes with having their trading suspended. Cool Mini or Not have since responded on the 11th of April to the ongoing situation. They released a statement in reply to the audit statement. In it, Cool Mini or Not say that everything is business as usual, that the going concern noted by the audit is merely a technical term and it happens in their business plan from time to time, and that Cmon is and will continue to be in business. Now, they do currently have a big Kickstarter out called Ankh, which is the sort of third part of Eric Lang's trilogy, Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and now this. And we have noted that the enthusiasm for Ankh seems to be a little muted compared to the other Cmon campaigns. The current take is lower than Rising Sun.
Yeah, but I'd like to say, Ian, that's probably... it might have something to do with the global pandemic that's currently around the world.
I mean, there is that as well, but... I mean, Frosthaven is still doing how much money now? Like 7 million?
At last count, it had just hit over $8 million with 10 days left.
I mean, yeah, obviously people are going to be more cautious with their cash around now, but there's some possibility that it is affecting it. Looking at Kicktrack at this point, which is a sort of algorithm, has a sort of rough predictive algorithm of where campaigns are going to end up. At this point in Rising Sun's campaign, it had crossed the 2.2 million mark, and Ankh is currently sitting at about $1 million. Ankh has both fewer backers and a lower average total at $99 compared to Rising Sun's $135 per pledge. So, don't know what... I mean, it's obviously not in trouble. It's going to get made. They've hit quite a lot of money, but not the usual cash cow that Cmon usually see from their projects. Any further thoughts, folks?
It's significantly more than Blood Rage already. But what's interesting is how much Cmon have put into this. I suspect that they were expecting it to be a repeat or an increase on Rising Sun, whereas it's been a real drastic decrease.
It certainly was getting pitched as that sort of Rising Sun successor, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
But you also want to look at, yes, it's a Cool Mini or Not game. Yes, it is a game by Eric Lang. Yes, it's part of this mythic trilogy. But also, this is a game now released, several years after we've seen a lot of these big Kickstarter successes. After those games have come out, after Gloomhaven has come out. So, these trends that were very big, we're now maybe seeing in some ways. I was about to say a slight tailing off, but then, we did say how much Frosthaven has just made and still to make. I mean, woof.
Talking about Kickstarter, Jamie, I believe you've got some news from the world of that company.
That company being Kickstarter. Now, Kickstarter has unfortunately planned layoffs after new projects on the site have dropped by 35%. Now, in an internal memo circulated at the time of recording, the beginning of the week of the 20th of April, Kickstarter announced it's going to lay off employees. Now, the CEO, Aziz Hassan, writes the crowdfunding company has already seen a significant drop in crowdfunding products being listed on the site, which obviously is how Kickstarter makes its money. It takes about 10%, I believe, from each successful project. Now, projects are down by about 35%, the memo says, with no clear sign of rebound. Now, Kickstarter's recent union, officially recognised after a timely and narrow vote by the employees in February, has announced on Twitter they will be entering negotiations with the company. Now, we're seeing all over the world stock markets taking a dip. Recently, the price of oil has hit negative figures for the first time in history. I think
that's astonishing.
Yes, this is having a huge knock-on effect. Now, who knows what's going to happen in a couple of months' time? Maybe there is precedent for markets having quite an uptick after a certain amount of time in the events of like major pandemics or major catastrophes. Whether or not that's going to happen and when it's going to happen remains to be seen. But we will keep you updated on this because we at Brainwaves and the Giant Brain, we went to bat for Kickstarter employees when they were talking about the union. I mean, I'll be honest, I think a lot of people were. But, the employees are very important.
I do think it's interesting, the statement, no clear sign of rebound, because it's not... I mean, we're only a few weeks into this, and it's going to go on for a while yet. So I'd be really interested to see the numbers they are seeing. And also, like, the cash on hand that Kickstarter, I thought they probably had, is maybe a lot less than I thought it was. Because they've been, Kickstarter has been the preeminent crowdfunding platform for the last decade. If it's even that old. I don't honestly remember. But you know what I mean? Like, since crowdfunding has been a thing, Kickstarter has been the platform. There's been others about, but Kickstarter is the big boy. And you would think they would have a fairly significant on-hand cash flow, but maybe not, or maybe that'll come out in negotiations. Who knows? We do hope that all the employees land on their feet and that the company finds a way to keep them on. I know the American sort of support scheme has suffered some problems, but we're not a financial podcast, so we'll not get into that. But Ian, talking about weird things going on in the States, a Florida game store owner has been under arrest for trying to deliver games.
So yes, this is the news that a Florida game store owner called Galen Wood has been arrested for violating state and local Stay Safe at Home orders, according to Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. The game store owner has called the arrest a show of hubris by the cops and the sheriff in an interview with the Tampa Bay Times, and what an incredible phrase that is.
That is wonderful.
It really is. However, police say he was warned by deputies on 3 separate occasions and was told that delivery would have been okay. It was the curbside pickups that got Wood into trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, like, game store owners all over the world must be really worried right now because they're not an essential service, much as the board game community, including ourselves, think they are. I got a collection from Backline Games in Edinburgh today, and they're basically just operating a mail order service at the moment. Yeah, there are lots of ways to support your local game stores. Just do stay safe, folks, if you're going to. We'll be actually talking a little bit later in the cast about ways you can help them out. A couple of companies have started to put together kickbacks to stores when you order on their sites and that kind of thing. There's lots of ways to help them out, but so do check out your local game store if you can. Try not to buy from people like Amazon during this period if you can possibly avoid it, and help out your local stores.
And with news of struggling individual game stores and pushing, Ian, would you like to chat about Games Workshop?
Yes, indeed. So Games Workshop has announced that they are contemplating opening stores around the world. Andy Smiley, global head of Warhammer community team, that's a bit of nominative determinism there, if you ever heard one, announced a pilot scheme today that in line with local advice and government guidelines, some locations will reopen this week. DW notes these stores will be offering a reduced service and may have extra signage highlighting health and safety measures, so that'll be the social distancing that we've all gotten used to. At time of writing, there are no UK or US stores open. They say on their statement, reopening stores then is about helping you get your hobby essentials. Please be sensible when deciding whether or not you should make the trip or whether that 10th Imperial Night can wait.
Now, it is worth restating that's still going to be in line with local advice and government guidelines.
Yeah, which at the moment in the UK means they're not going to be opening because they're not defined as an essential store. The bike shop I work for is still open and we are insanely busy, but we've had to put in all sorts of measures to make sure the staff and customers are safe. And I can only see this as applying to maybe the US at the moment, where there's a sort of state-by-state decision about whether things should open up again.
There was speculation on Twitter that this would be applied in Germany, who seem to be lessening things a little.
Of course, yeah, Germany's starting to lessen things off, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I guess they're going to try and get back to business as soon as they can. But yeah, we do urge you to still be cautious. I mean, things are going to start opening back up here and there, and there's still some talk about like some events going on this year. But
again, a lot of this is still speculation because we all have no idea what's going on. So I think, as much as we do occasionally like to do it, indulging in speculation is a fruitless endeavor, especially right now, as at least in the UK, we're kind of living it and taking it in 3-week bursts.
Yeah, very much so. Anyway, Jamie, something you can do from the comfort of your own TV is go to the Loop.
Yes, we have news from the world of Tales from the Loop. Now, this is a role-playing game and series from artist Simon Stehlenhag. That's my best try. I'll try that.
It's based on his art.
Yes, it is.
The role-playing game is by Fjällagen, or the Free League.
The Free League, yeah. And his art is an alternate Scandinavia in the 80s and 90s, which is kind of Scandinavian Stranger Things, I guess is the shorthand for describing it. Now, in Tales from the Loop, it was, you're playing a group of pre-teens who are going around, solving mysteries and problems with some strange kind of future-y tech. There was a slightly older one for older kids called Things from the Flood. And now there is going to be a board game. Of course, it's a board game podcast. And there's going to be an Amazon Prime series, which I believe is actually out now, which I admit to having not watched.
I have seen the first couple of episodes. It's a kind of odd, it's really pretty to watch. I'm not sure it's good yet. I haven't watched enough of it to figure that out. But it's an anthology show.
Ring an endorsement, everybody.
They've shifted the action to America. It's still based around the Loop, which is a sort of mysterious underground scientific research lab thing that the entire town is sort of like, everyone in the town sort of works for. And there's weird goings on. It's all about kids getting into weird situations and with the weird tech and things that are lying around the Loop. It's the first couple have been pretty good, but I need to watch more of it to really properly cast judgment. It's very, very pretty though. It's really beautiful to watch.
Well, there is going to be there's going to be a board game. Local is going to be local kids. This is in the Swedish original setting. 1 to 5 players. You're going to have days starting at school, and then you've got to, then you can go exploring, but you also need to do dinner and homework. And there's going to be 4 scenarios in the base game, which each one will take approximately between 90 and 150 minutes. So that remains to be seen what those scenarios will be. We're seeing, images of cardboard standees and miniatures for the game. Cardboard standees for the players and miniatures for the weird things that are showing up. I mean, I'm sad to say I haven't really played Tales from the Loop or Things from the Flood. I haven't watched the series. I have been interested, though. I think some of my friends have started running a game of Tales from the Loop, so I might join in and see what I think it's going to be set in Scotland, so I think a wee Scottish boy might do with Things Get Weird. But if you have played it, or if the idea interests you, I'd definitely check it out. It's, at time of recording, it's currently sitting at £165,000, and it has smashed its funding goal, and there's 15 days left at the time of recording, so there's going to be about 7 or 8 days left when the time's good. So if you're interested, hit it up. Now, Ian, I believe you've got some news from Portal Games and Pegasus Spiele.
Yes, indeed, Jamie. This is the news that Ian was alluding to earlier, that Pegasus Spiele and Portal Games have kickback programs. So direct sales from Pegasus' site will have 25% of the sale sent to a German game shop of the purchaser's choice. Similarly, Portal Games have a kickback for stores in the States. Customers can get 10% off a purchase on the US Portal Games site, and the store that they choose will get 40% of the purchase. This is an incredible support for friendly local gaming stores. It's flat out just these companies giving their money away, which is incredible to see.
I guess they're just acknowledging the importance of local game stores and that they need the support in these incredibly difficult times, and that they hope they'll stay open once we're out the other side of this, and that they can help support the companies in return. This sort of stuff will be remembered. The companies that stood by small game store owners and the companies that didn't, this stuff will be remembered on the other side of it, or at least you'd hope it would. Great to see.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic. So, over to Jamie with some news about Czech Games Edition.
Czech Games Edition, most famously known possibly for Codenames. I mean, there's a lot of other games they're famous for, but there's the first one that springs to mind, and probably, the one. I mean, Codenames has been translated into 41 languages around the world, and Czech Games Edition has started up a blog, and you may be wondering why now. And in a post to the blog, Peter Murmak, I'm going to, again, that's my run at it. I'm doing the best I can. The CEO of CGE, Czech Games Edition, he said, why be writing a blog now? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a global pandemic going on. And it might occasionally feel like, if you're stuck at home, like I am, it might seem that, you're only getting a very small window, a very small slice of what's going on in the world. But Czech Games Edition has decided to start collating stories and, little snippets of life going on from their distribution partners from all over the world. So, there's information on the company Slack. And it is looking like they're going to start putting up a series of these posts, and it's nice to kind of get a global perspective of this, to go, this is how it is in the UK, but maybe this is how these distributors are seeing life in South Korea, or how they're seeing life in Germany, or how they're seeing it in, say, South Africa. So it's I think it's quite a nice idea.
Slices of life from around the world.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice idea, and it hopefully makes everyone feel a little bit more globally connected and kind of going, you're not... Intellectually, that we're not dealing with this on our own.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can feel that way.
Of course, those meeples were indeed delicious. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gaming at Home with Ian. I hope you're all well. And this week, Jamie, Ian, and I are going to be talking about Roll20, the online tabletop RPG, virtual tabletop that you can use to play games like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, and a variety of other games. Have you had a chance to try out Roll20, Jamie and Ian?
I have not, actually. How about you, Jamie?
I have. I played a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign several years ago with it. I can't remember how long it ran I can't remember how long we ran the campaign for, but I had a lot of fun. I thought it was nice functionality, generally, in connecting us and playing the game. it was fine.
I mean, I've used it quite a lot to play a variety of games. I've run quite a bit of... I've run Blades over it. I've run more intense things like Dungeons and Dragons as well. And I've played in a few games. I'm currently playing in a game of Agon, which is the new John Harper Greek Heroes game on that particular platform with Gaz from the Smart Party and a bunch of other people. And that's been really, really good. So Roll20 it's a virtual tabletop, as we said. And one of the things it can do quite well for D&D and that kind of thing is you can basically set up maps and do sort of like all the sort of tactical gameplay that you might want in a D&D 5th edition game. And what you can also get is if you you can subscribe to for free. You can just log in for free and play games totally gratis. But if you pay a little bit of money, you can get access to a bunch of different features, including dynamic lighting and all sorts of images and that sort of thing you can use to spruce up your virtual tabletops, make them look really cool. And I saw someone saying the other day that the program also accepts GIFs, so you can have whirling pools of miasma and all sorts in your dungeon, which look really cool. You had a setup with some various bits and pieces. What you'll also find in Roll20 is that some of the community have done some automated character sheets. Now, rolling dice in Roll20 can be a little complicated, especially if you're rolling a lot of dice at once. It can involve a little bit of a learning curve, learning how to tell the system to roll particular dice and keep certain dice and that kind of thing. Certain members of the community with motivation have put together their own character sheets for various role-playing games. Wizards have their own D&D sheets you can use on Roll20. And it just makes everything a little bit easier. You can sort of click on different parts of your character to do the rolls for that part of them. So there's a really good Blades, Scum and Villainy, and a great Aegon sheet as well, done by a group of people who helped John Harper out with his projects. They're really cool. They come up with sort of little animations and everything as well. Yeah, really, really good.
I like to say something about Roll20, which is it's fine. The dice rolling, is nice, but don't use the voice chat or the video chat because they're kind of rubbish.
Yeah, the inbuilt voice and video chat are patchy at best. We do recommend that you do not use them especially if you're streaming or anything like that. If you want a decent fidelity, we'd recommend you use something like Hangouts or Discord or Skype, so some kind of other chat program, just so you can communicate better. I've always found the video within it kind of patchy and the voice kind of drops out in and out quite a lot. Maybe they solved some of those problems because I haven't tried using it for a few years, but yeah, it's always been not that great, unfortunately. It does have a bit of a learning curve, much like Tabletop Simulator that we talked about last week, but I think it is worth it, and again, it is better than not role-playing with your friends. We should get you on it at some point, Ian, and try out a game or two.
Absolutely.
I do want to run some Aegon at some point, run a couple of islands of Aegon.
And some Blades in the
I'd
Dark.
love to try that. Yes. Oh, yes, I've wanted to play Blades in the Dark for a long time.
So, from what I understand, it runs through a web browser.
Yeah, that's right. So, Roll20, it's not a program you need to download or anything. You can just go to roll20.net, sign yourself up there. You can go and search for games, that kind of thing. I've never used the search function to go and just look for games and sign up for games that way, but you can do that if you want to.
That's roll20.net, folks. Roll20.net.
Indeed, as Jamie says.
Sorry, .net.
Jamie is paid by the mention for roll20.net. I think it's 10p a mention, something like that.
I'd be so lucky.
Indeed. But yeah, so you can sign up. You can basically use the community features there to go and look for games. I've always just used it to play with people I know already, but so I can't really speak to how good those parts of it are. But I believe that people use it quite a lot for that kind of thing. It is designed around it's designed around the chunkier games like D&D and Pathfinder and that kind of thing. It's got a grid system and all sorts. But I've used it really well for Blades. So people who have done a lot of additional mods and that kind of thing for the Blades in the Dark system that you can reuse to do all your clocks and that kind of thing within it. And there's a great modding community around it, so you can always find bits and pieces for your particular game in there. It's a really good thing. I really like it.
So if you'd like to play some role-playing games, and it is really kind of only for role-playing games. Roll20. If you're looking for board games, as we've talked about before, Tabletop Simulator, for all its faults, is there. You can also run some role-playing games. Actually, you can run role-playing games with it.
One of my friends got a mod for their homebrew, their homebrew tabletop role-playing game in Tabletop Simulator. And yeah, that works pretty well, but it is quite card-based, so it works for TTS. Mm-hmm. Next time on Staying at Home with Ian, I'll teach you how to make dice stew.
Twilight Broth will be available on Saturday, should you wish to check the recipe on YouTube.
Ooh, Twilight Broth. I can't wait.
Complicated and delicious.
Yes.
Jamie, you got the Monopoly news, right?
Oh, indeed I do. And the news this week is there is no Monopoly news. I'm sorry, I couldn't find any. It's been pretty thin recently. Coronavirus.
Sterling work there as always, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm
Sterling
doing my
work.
best I can.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry. No.
Always blown away by your work ethic and attention to detail.
This is an actual sign of the apocalypse.
Wow, I'm glad I come on this podcast every fortnight with my supportive friends who will, help me. Esteemed, yeah, let's say that. Help me through this difficult time. Anyway, moving on. On to Trivial Pursuit news. And we have Trivial Pursuit...
excuse me, I didn't approve this.
Moving on to Trivial Pursuit news. And we have coming very soon Trivial Pursuit Horror Ultimate Edition. Now, there was a horror movie edition of Trivial Pursuit released by the OP, also known as USAopoly, back in 2018. 600 questions was released then. And now we have Ultimate Edition with 1,800 questions. 6 reference-heavy categories sure to elevate your heart rate: gore and disturbing, psychological, killer, monster, comedy, and paranormal. The 6 pieces that you'll be taking around the board will have things like a brain with a meat cleaver in it, a creepy baby doll, a goat skull, a straitjacket, because, that's fun, a zombie's hand being raised out of the ground, and what looks like some kind of strange box. It's a table saw.
Live on this week's Brainwaves podcast, men try to identify objects from pictures.
Yay. Yeah.
It's a bandsaw.
It's a bandsaw. If you like horror films, this might be something to have a look at. Again, it's another branded game, but always the issue with a lot of these games, a lot of these questions, like a lot of Trivial Pursuits or Scroll. I mean, a game I love, but eventually you're going to start running into ones like, oh, I remember this one. Even with 1,800 questions, you will run into ones that you've done before.
I've been playing a bit of Drawful.
Cannot be
one of the Jackbox 2 games.
Oh,
that's really good fun.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime.
That sounds good.
It's great.
Yes, we
could talk about this in the cast sometime. Actually, because they're definitely board game adjacent.
Yes, we'll talk about it later. Trivial Pursuit Horror Ultimate Edition is going to play 2 to 6 players. Ages 17 and up, because, there's some gory stuff going to be in there, and is probably going to be released sometime around the autumn in America for $49.99 of your American dollars. We'll see if it comes over to Britain.
Anyway, moving swiftly on, we'd like to give a big shout out to our executive producers, the Lucky Sparrow Gaming Cafe. We were chatting to the folks from there just recently, and they are well. The cafe is safe for now. They have some government support, which is great to hear. Do give them a follow on Twitter and Facebook. I'm sure they will tell you of any other ways you can help them out during these difficult times. And we'd also like to give a little shout out to No Pun Included, who have just started a Patreon as well. They are doing extremely well. They've got an ambitious early target to hit to keep the sort of No Pun Included brand going, because basically they get all their money through consumer support. So it was originally through Kickstarter campaigns, and they have now switched over to Patreon for that. And yeah, we wish them all the best with that. They produce fantastic content that we all enjoy, and in order to keep themselves sort of free of any kind of influence, they need our help and support. So yeah, do go and check that out and toss them a few bucks if you can.
And they're lovely. Yes. They're very nice people, and their content is tip top. I think they're producing some of the best video content out there right now, personally. It's great.
I did ask Efka how much it would take to turn No Pun Included into a show entirely about his dog Bessie, and he said nothing. Free. Absolutely nothing. That's going to happen.
Awesome. So just videos about their cute dog.
That's the good news. You could get rid of all the rest of the news we've just had in this podcast and just led with that, and that would have been I would have been happy. I am happy. I'm feeling very happy.
That's the entire podcast.
Next week on Dog Waves, pictures of my dogs.
Just because you have 2 dogs, Ian.
I mean, what more do you want, really? Dog pictures.
Cats.
What? Do you want to do the thanks very much for listening? I've got a bit strange. I think it should stop now.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. If you like what you've listened to, then the best way to help us out is to share the podcast around and drop us a review and a rating on iTunes. Now, you can also follow us on Twitter. We're at The Giant Brain. Our Instagram is Giant Brain UK. Our Facebook is The Giant Brain. Our website is giantbrain.co.uk. If you have any queries, questions, comments, any of that, send us an email at giantbrainuk@gmail.com. And we also have a Twitch channel where we've been streaming some games. Now, Ian and I had a game of Cosmic Frog with the developer Jim and his friend Wesley, and I had a lot of fun with that. Ian's doing Arkham Horror, and I believe it's Lair of the Clockwork God you're also doing?
Yep, so Lair of the Clockwork God, 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. I'm playing Arkham Horror. I'm going to be going into the last part of Circle and Done. That'll be on our Twitch channel by the time this podcast goes live. And then we'll be doing some more bits and pieces. I'm reaching out to a few other publishers to get some streaming of their prototype games or upcoming games, and we'll announce that stuff as and when.
If viewers are especially lucky, they can tune in to watch me throwing Netrunner cards into a box with wanton abandon, throwing the Netrunner cards across the room and shaking the box up.
It's a sight worth seeing, I gotta say.
It's the content everyone wants to see live on Twitch.
Yeah.
You're fired.
I will fight this case. Also, I will prosecute him to the fullest extent of the board gaming law. I will also defend you, Ian, don't worry.
I think we're stuck in a time loop again.
Possibly. Right, let's leave this now so we can hopefully let the timeline sort itself out.
Is this the top of the cast? I've forgotten.
All rise.